if white just makes a couple of moves that aren't either precise or aren't aggressive, like suddenly black can really be in charge of the game, and I take the knight, and I am in charge of the game. This game shows some of the venom that is in the Caro Kann. This is round 3 of the Ceske Budejovice Open, and I'm entering this round with 2 wins before, checkmating my opponents in the middle game, and I'm hoping to do so once again. Here's game in 90, increment 30. I usually use chess.com when going over the game recaps, but this time I'm actually using Elite Chess because they actually broadcast the games live, and so this on Elite Chess, they have the timestamps actually. So this is no engine recap until the very end, and with that being said, let's hop right into it. So my opponent, I played c6. So Caro Kann, and they put 2 pawns in the center, and they actually did the exchange variation. I knew I was playing a kid, and I had a guess that most likely he was going to play the exchange variation. I saw his previous games that he played in the tournament, so I knew he played e4, and I knew that a lot of kids like to play the exchange variations. Very, very popular with kids. So I actually just reviewed some of my lines, and I decided after bishop d3 and knight c6 attacking the pawn on d4, after he defends, I decided I was going to play queen c7. In a lot of games I've played before in this channel, I played knight f6, allowing the bishop to come to f4, but I just decided that that's too drawish, that's too dry. I want to play aggressively. I want to play queen c7, not allowing his bishop to develop, controlling e5 more. So if he plays h3, I'm going to play e5. And if he plays knight f3, controlling the e5 square, well, now my bishop has easy development. So I solve any potential issues in my position. I'm doing quite well here, and I'm going to play e6, bishop d6, and control this diagonal very, very well towards his king. And that is one of the most beautiful parts about this game, is how aggressively the Caro Kann can be played. It's known to be very solid and positional opening, but you can really get spicy with it, as we'll see in this game. So after h3, I just slide back to h5. I don't want to trade yet. Maybe I'll trade in the future, but no reason to take the knight now and get rid of the bishop pair at this point. I want him to commit to g4, weaken his position a bit, if he does want to break the pin. He plays bishop g5. There's really nowhere else to put the bishop at all. And his idea is, like, if I kick it around, his idea is that his bishop has a nice home on g3, guarded by his f2 pawn, and attacks my queen. So I definitely don't want to kick his bishop now. I want to play e6 and play bishop d6 to guard this diagonal really well. So now if I play h6 and g5, kicking his bishop back to h4 and g3, now he's going to lose the pawn. He's going to lose a pawn because I have 2 attackers on his bishop. That's kind of the idea, and he's having trouble finding squares for his pieces. That being said, white's position is very solid, but spoiler alert, not for long. He castles, and now I play h6. And once again, if he plays bishop h4, I could consider g5 here. And he could play g4, counterattacking my bishop. I don't think... Yeah, and then I just play bishop g6, and after the trade, he still loses the pawn. He's still losing a piece here, which is good for me. So, I think earlier, even here, there's some variations I was thinking about with h6 earlier. Like, even in this position, maybe like h6. No. I forgot what I was thinking. But I go for this setup, and I play h6, and bishop h4 just doesn't look good for black because you're going to be losing a pawn at a bare minimum. And so he goes bishop e3. But now his bishop is sort of just a tall pawn here, and I have very nice control of the king side, and he's wasted time. He's wasted time going back and forth with his bishop, and he doesn't really have any threats in the center, so I play well, I don't play f5 yet. I play knight e7, just developing, and I can still castle kingside or queenside here. And on the next move, I play f5. I actually don't know if f5 here is bad. Is that bad at all? maybe I can play f5 here. I actually didn't really think about f5 in this moment, but I am still threatening to trap the bishop, and maybe I can play knight f6 next. Yeah, actually, I kind of like f5 here, so maybe I should have played f5 now. But I think knight ge7, because now if he plays g4, like my knight guards my bishop, and I control the dark squares very well. And my knight can also it's good on the square as well. I definitely don't want to go knight f6 here because g4 looks kind of annoying after bishop g6 and these doubled pawns. Although maybe it's okay, but I just don't like how backwards and weak this e6 pawn is. So that's why I played knight ge7 to guard the g6 square more with my knight. But yeah, maybe f5 was a good alternative instead of knight ge7. He plays queen c2 though. Just getting out of the pin, and now I play f5, just straight up threatening to trap the bishop. If he plays g3, then I can play f4 potentially, maybe not f4 immediately, maybe f4 immediately, and his bishop he has to take, and this just looks pretty good for me. If he doesn't take me, let's say he plays like king g2 for example. I feel very confident in this position. I could castle queenside now, maybe. I could play rook f8 now, or maybe even castle at this point. I could castle now, and if he ever moves this bishop, I have pressure on the f3 knight, but maybe this isn't so bad for him. I think black is still slightly better, but maybe this isn't so bad. So maybe g3 was a better try for him to try to defend. Not 100% sure. But he doesn't play g3. He plays knight b3. The idea is that he's giving his bishop more space to go backwards. But this knight on b3 does not move for the rest of the game, and spoiler alert, nor does this rook. And suddenly, all of my moves have really been justified here. Well, firstly, I'm playing with the initiative, playing f5 with the threat on the bishop, and he has to respond to my move. So, like, I'm really playing with the initiative here, which was really cool to do in the Kann. Like, if white just makes a couple of moves that aren't either precise or aren't aggressive, like suddenly black can really be in charge of the game, and I take the knight, and I am in charge of the game. I play knight g3 or knight g6. I could play f4 now, kicking the bishop back, but I didn't like how after bishop d2, the e file can be more easily attacked, and I can't maneuver my knight to better squares because this queen and bishop guard g6 very well. So I actually think f4 would be a huge mistake in this position. That's why knight g6 is much better. And at first, I was like, okay, I had to calculate in advance the bishop sacrifice here because my king is so naked and open. But if he did do the sacrifice, I have queen f7, guarding my knight, guarding my pawn, offering a queen trade, and he has to retreat. And then I can play knight h4 here, attacking f3, and there's not really much he can do in this position. And it's actually probably going to be checkmate very soon. And so yeah, I think this would have been good. If he did sacrifice the bishop, good for me, I mean. And really, I just want to get my knight in, potentially attack him, slide my queen over, castle queenside, and throw my pawns at his king. I have very easy play. Just like the last round, I have very, very easy play here. And he plays king h1, and now I play knight h4, attacking the pawn. He has to defend with his bishop or his queen. He decides to defend with his queen. Now I slide my queen over. I really wanted to fix the pawn on f3 so it would be an easier target. For example, f4, bishop back, queen f7, and let's say he makes a bad move like a4, then I could play maybe king d7, and let's say he makes another bad move, and this is kind of the ideal setup where I fix the pawn on f3, I have multiple attackers on it, there's no possible way for him to defend it, and I'm just going to take here, and life is beautiful here, life is great here, life is, lively. But he's not going to play these bad moves, and more importantly, more potent than that, he can just take the pawn here, and this sacrifice of the bishop now was really annoying to me because if I take, he can take with check, and if I block with the queen, he can take the pawn on d5, and now he's threatening rook e1. I cannot castle either way here because of this queen, and this is just looks bad. This looks not good at all. So that's why I did not play f4, not only because he wouldn't have played, a4, a5, giving me the opportunity to play queen f7, queen h5, but also, more importantly, he could sacrifice the bishop. That's why I didn't play f4. But I do play queen f7 now. I'm guarding the pawn in case he moves the bishop. And I'm like, hey, if you don't play f4 yourself, guarding the h5 square, I'm going to play queen h5 next, maybe after I castle. Maybe I'll play knight d8 after I castle and move the rook to guard this e6 pawn. So definitely, like, the one source of counterplay white has, well, they have a couple sources of counterplay. One is c4, trying to break open the center here, and the other is targeting the e6 pawn. That's white's two main sources of counterplay here, and I'm going to try to focus their attention on the king side so they cannot counterattack towards my king, and try to make sure the game is about them defending and not about me defending my king. So that's kind of the hope in this position. But he plays f4 because he does not want me to play f4 for myself. I don't think he had to do that. I think maybe he could have played c4 here, which would have been very, very interesting. c4 now, it seems very principled. I think the reason why he didn't, I think it's because of f4 now. Yeah, I think this is very good for me. If he takes, I just take back, and the bishop's being hit. Although, now this file is open, so he can take with check. So that's actually no good. So if he did play c4, I probably, if after f4, after takes, and takes, his position is getting very, very messy here. But I guess after d takes c6, I have queen f4 here, just straight up threatening checkmate. Although he can take here, defend laterally. So this isn't super clear. Although I think I'm winning. Yeah, I think I'm winning here. He can't defend this pawn at all because he can't go queen here or here. So this should be 100% winning here. Although he does play f5. If I go check, you can just move over maybe, or block. Yeah, this is too messy. Yeah, this is definitely a bit too messy here. I could take here, but he can take. Yeah, this doesn't look super pleasant. So I can go here and here, and I think he's still up material at the end of the day, or maybe it's equal material, but this is not what I want. So I would have definitely had to consider what to do after c4, because I definitely don't want to take, because now he's like targeting my e6 pawn very nicely with his bishop and his queen. So yeah, that's kind of tough. I definitely would have had to consider what to do here. If he did play c4, like maybe I could just castle immediately. And if c5, I go bishop c7. That's another thing I consider about in this position. Like, I thought about maybe castling, but I didn't like the moves. But meeting the move like c4 looked really annoying, because I really wanted to go knight g6 now, but then like c5, and my bishop cannot stay on this diagonal. I mean, it can stay on this diagonal by going like bishop h2, but it feels kind of like loose here. It's only defended by my queen. My bishop has no backwards movements. It didn't look very good. So actually, that was one of my ideas behind queen f7, was to give space for my bishop to go backwards. That was one of the ideas. So I actually am kind of proud of that move. Queen f7, because it's multifaceted. Maybe I can play f4. Maybe I'll go bishop c7 if you go c5, or c4, c5, and I'm also just defending this pawn. So queen f7 definitely does seem multifaceted here, and a very good move. But he plays f4. I don't think he had to. I think probably the most principled approach was c4, but I guess complicated after f4. So he probably just saw that c4, f4, and stopped calculating there. But I think it's very, very tricky here. It's very, very tricky. It's not clear at all, in my opinion. Maybe after c takes, I could play knight b4. But then after b takes in here, it's still not clear. I mean, my king is so naked. It's kind of ugly. Yeah, I don't totally like this here. Maybe I can just go like king f8 or something like that, and I'm attacking h3 here, and he actually can't defend it. So maybe black is just 100% winning here, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, black could be winning here. Black is probably winning, actually. Well, I have to play king here, but then I just take and discover check. So, okay, cool. So, yeah, I guess black is winning here regardless, I suppose. And I don't know if I said this yet in this video or not, but this is a no engine recap until the very end. So hopefully we'll both learn something along the way. Okay, so he plays f4, guarding the h5 square, preventing the queen from coming in. But now I castle queenside, and he plays rook g1 here, trying to put pieces towards his king side to defend adequately, but it's not enough. When you look at the time usage, I did think a lot here. Like even queen f7, I thought for almost 20 minutes, about 17 minutes here. It's because I really wanted to be precise here. There's a lot of different ideas black could do, like castling, like queen f7, like g5 even, and of course f4 earlier as well. So there's a lot of different moves that black could do. But I do feel like I made the right choice with queen f7 and castling. And rook g8 here. So, maybe instead of rook g8, so here I have an idea. I had an idea in this position, and that is to play g5 at some point, and after black takes, I play f4. So I give up a pawn temporarily to shove my f4 pawn forward. That was kind of one of my main ideas here. Maybe I can do it now. I actually did it after I played rook g8, and then g5, but maybe I can play it now. f4, and let's say one thing I was calculating was g3 or g6, I mean, counter attacking my queen, and if he has too many defenders on it, so I can go like queen f6, queen f6, and then g2, and I was like, this is probably still fine for me. Maybe he doesn't do that. Maybe he just keeps the pawn on g6. And I was like, okay, well now the h file is still closed. This is probably still good for me, but I wasn't 100% sure about this position. Just wasn't 100% sure. I could play like queen. I could play pawn f3, for example, and let's say queen e3, or maybe like queen f1 or queen d1 and knight g2. Like I could play this and like try to go for here. Maybe this was the way to go. Looking at it now, this looks pretty good. Although to be honest, if I go queen h4, then the f3 pawn hangs, so I have to be careful. Yeah, this isn't 100% clear to me, but maybe I can also play e5 at some point and try to get my knight in on e5. So I'm not 100% sure. This might be better than what happened in the game. But I played rook g8 first, and then he wastes a move with queen d1. Honestly, it's hard to find a move for white. I'm not 100% sure what he should do. Because, like, in this position, I'm constantly calculating what counterplay does he have, what forcing moves does he have, and he doesn't really have that any. If he plays knight c5, I can honestly just kick it out with b6. I don't even have to do that. I can still play g5 here after pawn takes f4. And I could also even just consider after knight c5, I could even consider taking on c5 and playing g4, because now I have pawn takes and f4. After the bishop moves back, this e5 square is no longer guarded by any pawn, so I could potentially get my knight into e5 in the future. So, or even play e5 and e4 and get my center pawns rolling down the board. So it's actually not super clear for white if playing knight c5 is even good at all. And and if you don't play knight c5, what do? Are you playing c4? I don't think it's very good, because I'm just not going to take the pawn, and I'm going to play g5 anyways. So I was very confident that his counterplay was non-existent. He didn't have enough counterplay, so I felt like I had enough time to play rook g8 and had enough time to play g5. And then what does black do? Or what does white do? If white doesn't take, I want to take them. So he takes, and I play f4. He goes back. I thought he might push and try to keep the h-file closed. I think that was probably the most prudent idea. I think white survives a lot longer if they do that, but instead he allows me to open up the h-file here, and he plays queen g4. I mean, just look at how many of the last 4 moves were queen moves. I guess only a couple of queen moves. 1 queen move and 2 queen moves. It feels like a lot more, but I guess it's only like 2 in the last 5 moves. But he's just been moving his queen back and forth on this diagonal. But he plays queen g4, and that doesn't really do anything. Admittedly, he doesn't really have that many other ideas. I mean, what it does is defend h3. That's what he wants to do. He wants to defend h3. But the thing is, his queen gets under fire very quickly because I play knight f5. And if he takes, I'm just going to take back. And look at these pawns. They are roaring forward. Where does he even go with his queen? If he goes queen e2 or queen d1, I'm going to go g4 here, and this king is naked. This king is a goner. This king does not exist anymore. This king is gonzo's. So, I mean, like, what does he do? Like, if he goes king g2, trying to escape with his king this way, I could probably take with the pawn here, and if he tries to blockade, I go f3 check, and this looks pretty good for me, although I don't see the mate, so maybe this isn't as good as I thought it was. I could even consider bishop b8 here to go queen c7 to checkmate. That seems like one of the most nice ideas. And then after queen takes f3, I can play queen c7, and yeah, it looks pretty good. Although he has this, this, and this, so maybe in this position, maybe I should play rook takes, and now I don't think this is the best. Probably after king g2, probably I just play rook takes, and after king f1, I play f3. And his pieces are this knight and rook aren't participating in the game at all, and this is probably good enough. I might not even have to play f3 here, but I like f3. It just cuts off the circulation of his position. So yeah, the point is, my position is very good if he takes my knight on f5 because of this kingside pawn mass roaring down the board. So he doesn't take. Instead, he plays king g2 to try to run out his king as fast as possible. But I spot a very nice idea, which is to play rook h4, which is very simple because you're attacking the queen and preparing to double up on the h-file to attack the rook. But it's not super clear because if queen e2, one of my ideas that I thought I had originally was f3 check. Because if king takes, I play knight d4 double check, winning the queen. And if queen takes, I originally thought I had knight h4 check, but I cannot take my own rook, so that doesn't work. That doesn't make any sense. But another idea I had was to sacrifice the rook on h3. And it is unstoppable winning the queen at a bare minimum. Because if king takes, I'm not going to go queen h7 check. I'm not going to go rook h8 check. I'm going to go g4 check. And if the rook takes, now I play queen h5 check, and the rook cannot block because of the knight covering the h4 square. So the king has to go back to g2, the only legal square, but then I take the rook, and white is going to get checkmated very, very shortly here. Absolutely beautiful. All my pieces helping with the checkmate here. If he goes back, same exact thing. If he takes back with the queen, then I'll just trade first and then deflect the king. So it's all winning for black. If king takes. If I don't do something that really explosive right now, like if I just double up rooks here, he might have enough time to defend. And this is probably still winning for black. But why am I doing this? Like, why am I doing this? Why don't I just do something much more simple and much more straightforward and just sacrifice the rook now? And he decides to defend by going back with his queen. surprisingly. I guess I am threatening a fork here. I think he could have gone king f1 here, but I think it transposes to the same game. But he goes back with his queen, but now I just play f3 check. He still cannot take because of queen h4 checkmate. And this side of the board is completely cut off from the king. Absolutely beautiful. So he goes back, but now I go queen h5 anyways, defending the pawn on f3, preparing rook h1, and he tries to escape with his king e4, king e1, with the idea of bringing his bishop back to f1 to block the checks, but it's too little too late because I play rook h1, we trade, he blocks, and the final touch in this move, knight g3. Mwah. Chef's kiss, very nice. And yeah, I saw that move very, very quickly. If you look at the time usage here, 1910. So I saw this move in advance. I mean, the most I had to calculate, looking at the time usage, was here. Knight f5 was my last big decision. And I was just calculating all the variations, and all the other moves came pretty quickly. I did triple, quadruple, quintuple check, rook takes h3 because I didn't want to do anything dumb. But other than that, all my moves were very easy to find, and knight g3, very nice final touch, and bishop e3, preparing. If I do queen takes, he runs his king forward, and I'm still winning here. But why let his king run when I can play knight f2, and his king cannot go anywhere, and I'm going to win a second piece, and that's the bishop on e3. And if he doesn't move his queen, I'm going to win the queen next. So he has to go queen d3, and then I would take on e3. And yeah, I'm just going to be absolutely winning here. I'm up 2 pieces. So that's why after knight takes f1, he resigns. This is the power of the Caro, the venom in the Caro-Kann, the hidden venom. And yeah, I felt pretty proud of this game. I think I played pretty normal attacking moves. I think he probably could have put up better resistance, but you know, most people below 2,000 are very bad at defending. So that's why I like to attack. So that being said, I'm going to hit the game review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.